Keprira. In the last video, I talked about histamine, but I didn't go into the most important parts. I left out the most important parts, which are pretty insane. And yeah, I wanted to get into it. I don't necessarily want to talk about health every video that I make, but also maybe I do want to talk about this over and over again. I know I only watch videos that are new. And if you want to make a point, if you want to get something across, you might as well talk about it over and over again. But I want to share with you the explosive and new information that I didn't include in the last video. Excuse my voice if it sounds weird. I have allergies, I guess. Almost feels like I'm sick, but... So, last time, in the last video, I talked about histamine and how that histamine is in foods, right? It's in fresh foods, a few, but those few foods are very strong in histamine, very high histamine foods. And then it's in processed foods and old foods and fermented foods. So you have to be aware of where the histamine is, because it can exacerbate all pre-existing conditions and as well as, I think, cause them all. Like Dr. Sebi said. He said mucus is the cause of all diseases. He pinpointed alkalinity and acid as, your body making a response to that. But truly, everybody's body is going to make a response, an immunological response, to histamine being added into your body through the food. So I think this is a more accurate way to improve the whole body's condition by monitoring which foods are full of histamine. So, the craziest thing that I've seen on this journey in unraveling unraveling histamine, right? I went into the rabbit hole about histamine, is the cure to the deadly peanut allergy is already known. So, basically, like I said, when foods get old, they become more full of histamine. When they're fried and baked, they're more full of histamine. So peanuts in particular are a kind of shelf food, right? It can sit on the shelf for years and years, and as long as it's in its packaging, right, it'll all be good. And even if it's not in its packaging, if it's already been open, you can necessarily still eat a peanut if you don't have a severe allergy. So it's a shelf food. And not only that, but it's processed, right? Mostly it's roasted, but it's very oily. So I think that's the difference between dry roast and just roasting it outright. Perhaps they remove the oil before they roast it. But yeah, peanuts are a shelf food that also gets roasted. Okay, so we're talking about a very high histamine food that's also, it has mold. It's one of the foods that you will always find mold on, right? You have peanuts and you have rice. There's almost always mold on these food items. But and peanuts we don't cook before we eat, so rice might be okay. But anyway, getting back to the histamine thing. Well, it turns out that foods don't increase in histamine when you boil them, right? So I was on the internet, I'm learning about histamine, and I search, what happens, if you boil a peanut. Can a person with peanut allergies eat a boiled peanut? And it turns out that's the cure. That's the cure to peanut allergies. You could have a deadly peanut allergy, and boiled peanuts are totally hypoallergenic to you. And not only that, but it will cure you of your peanut allergies. That's not to say that you can boil peanuts that have already been roasted. You cannot boil out histamine once once the product is old. You can't make it unold by boiling it. Does that make sense? So if a product is old and it has a high amount of histamine in it, you can't reverse it by boiling it. And there are certain foods, of course, like if that you're allergic to, you can't just boil it. Like even if it's fresh, like a cucumber, I wouldn't assume that you could just boil it. But you can ask your doctor. If you're allergic to peanuts, you can ask your doctor to go through this therapy, and they will walk you through it. But it's never going to be on the front of their minds to inform you, or not necessarily even that they are informed themselves or they know too much about it. And that's like the angering shamefulness of it all. Not only is the cure known, but it's not getting out there. Okay? And oh, sorry. I didn't touch on how this is a cure. Essentially, all foods have germs on it that help you digest the food. A lot of the histamine foods have germs on it that the germs are involved in the ripening of the fruit and the aging of the fruit, and those germs are histamine producing germs is what I understand of it. But germs that are on the fruit are going to help you digest the fruit. They'll become a part of your biome, and they'll calm down your immune system, and you tell your body, I know how to handle that. That's just a peanut. We know what to do. We'll take care of that. You just calm down, okay? So, and since I'm making a longer video, I did want to share, my family's wisdom, my ancestors' wisdom. So, when I first had sour cream when I was like 4 years old, I was with my mom, and my nana was there, and I broke out in these red splotches all over my skin, right? Because I was having a reaction. And my mom, she got panicked, and I'm sure she was going to call, a doctor or the ambulance or 911. But my nana, she calmed her down. She said, it's just an allergic reaction. It's no reason to go overboard about it. And she shared a story that when she was young, when she was little, she had an allergic reaction to strawberries. And her parents knew that the how you resolve this, the mode of action is that my nana needed more strawberries, because the strawberries themselves have the germs on it to digest the strawberries. And my nana, she didn't have those germs because that was her first time trying strawberries, just like it was my first time trying sour cream. I never had a reaction again. I didn't need heaps of sour cream. But my nana's parents fed her lots of strawberries until the allergy subsided and was no more. And what's happening is those germs are becoming a part of her gut biome, her microbiome. And those germs tell her body, oh, it's just a strawberry. I know how to handle this. And they help break it down and digest it as they would help break it down and digest it if that strawberry was not eaten and decomposed, right? That's basically, a part of digestion, right? Decomposing it and taking the nutrients up for your own body. So, boiled peanuts, same thing. You're not going to boil away all the germs, but you're going to get it down to a safe enough level, and I don't know what happens to the mold. All I know is that this is the actual cure for peanut allergies. It creates a totally hyperallergenic product. And I also know that there's no doctor. It just makes me so angry. There's no doctor that's gonna tell you these things. And I'm just a internet researcher, an analyst at best. I am an analyst. But yeah, our health is in our own hands. We gotta take charge, and we got to be proactive about it. Otherwise, it's gonna slip through our hands. So, like, whenever people are getting denied about health insurance, don't don't feel like you missed out on anything. Don't don't feel like you missed out. If anything, you're being protected by your ancestors. We're all being protected because their procedures and their methods aren't the best thing. They aren't the best thing. Period. You know. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is there is a other side of the coin. There are people who have low histamine levels, and what that causes is epilepsy. Because histamine is a neurotransmitter. Yes, it helps your body formulate a immunological response and be active, and it's also a neurotransmitter. It's weird. Okay, I didn't make this up. You got to talk to your body about this. It's weird, but it's a neurotransmitter, and the cause of a seizure is that you have too little histamine in your body. Okay, so with that being said, you should realize that a potential cure is just eating more histamine, raising your histamine levels, eating those histamine rich foods. Again, they are avocado, tomato, spinach, eggplant, shellfish, and even wine. Now, when I look on the internet, all the fear mongering is like, don't have red wine, don't have any wine because it could cause, you'd have a seizure. But like I said, it's fear mongering um, because while they do explicitly say that you won't have